Okay, I think we might be live.
I think you're live, mate.
I think we're live. I think we're live.
Oh my God. Did everyone hear us expleting? Let us know in
That's
the comments, folks. Can you hear us? We don't know whether anybody's there. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, do let me know. Can you hear us, anybody? We're having a nightmare here. What is going on? I'm not sure we're there, mate, to be honest. But
wait.
we'll
If I
see
go
where
to the
we go.
LinkedIn event,
Can you see us on the LinkedIn?
let's have
I'm
a
going to
look
go on
now.
my mobile here. I'm like, what on earth is happening here? Fucking hell. Sorry. I shouldn't even take the risk of an effing hell.
No, I think we are live.
Yeah, we're there, aren't we?
I
All
think
right,
we're
we're
live.
there. Right. So how come no one's like saying hello? I think the comments are
Yes,
broken.
we've got confirmation. We're live. Someone just messaged me. We're live.
Oh my God. I was going to say, folks, we need feedback. Like, it's like as an ex product maker and as a current product maker here, we're like, we need feedback. You need to tell us what's going on. Like, we're just guessing. All right,
Oh, good.
folks. Well, I'm going to assume we're live. So, welcome everybody to Brain Food Live on Air, bringing it to you. This is a special event, special for many reasons, because it's a midweek event, number one. Also, as I understand now from Mark Chaffee, it is the first time we've ever seen the hackajob triplets demoed live anywhere. So these are, if you don't know hackajob, by the way, they've been one of the best places to go to hire your technical talent. They've been there for a long time, millions of profiles you can go and access. However, major launch this year, which is deployment of AI agents, not one, not two, but 3 AI agents that's going to help you do that. Mark's going to demo how it works, but let's Mark introduce himself first, and then you can run through what these agents are and what it does for people.
Yeah, amazing. Hung, thank you so much for having me. We couldn't think of a better place to do like the first public demo. A lot of these agents have been out in the wild for a while now, but we thought like this is the best place to do it. But quick intro on me. So my name's Mark. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO at hackajob. We founded hackajob 10 years ago, which is pretty insane. Business has evolved and changed and grown a lot in that time. And to your point, Hung, like I think we're most well known for being the leading online marketplace to hire tech people, where we've actually spent the time and the effort and the energy to build a community of about 1.5 million professionals in the US, the UK, and India. And, you know, I guess to give a little bit of the backstory about what got us here today, we closed our Series B in March 2023. That was like 5 months after this small application called ChatGPT had just come out. And we were like, you know, what does this mean for us? And so we ran an internal hackathon and we're like, oh, this might change absolutely everything. And so we took the decision to rebuild our core matching engine from scratch, which we had spent about 5 years building. So bold decision. And that culminated in the release of Hackajob Intelligence last summer, which if we want to, we can get into today. And then since then, we've been thinking about how do we apply some of this technology in new ways. And that's what's led to the triplets, as you're calling them, Archer, Chase, and THENA, which we'll get into today.
Brilliant stuff, mate. And it must actually be a very difficult decision to start again from scratch, right? I mean, that's got to be like, because so much emotional investment has gone into building this thing, but then obviously a big change happens in the world and you have to react. So it's actually, that's worth exploring just a little bit. I mean, how long did it take you to make that decision? And what demons were you wrestling with in order to get over the line?
So I think quite quickly we realized, look, if we're being honest, pre-LLMs, Hackajob was amazing at matching software engineering talent. Outside of that, like maybe DevOps and cloud worked, but you got into like a product manager or designer, we didn't do a great job. And that was because pre-LLM, like actually the taxonomy that you had to build, like you had to invest a lot of time in. And we did a really good job for engineering. But we always had kind of bigger ambitions, bigger aspirations. And so I think it was quite obvious quite quickly that this would unlock completely new ways to match. But then you still make loads of mistakes, right? So this was the era when everybody was like, oh, it's just a ChatGPT wrapper, right? And so we were like, oh, we're not going to be a ChatGPT wrapper. We're going to like fine tune some of our own models using all of this data that we've got. And because that's going to be like defensible. And then like the latest frontier model comes out and it's like way better than the fine-tuned model. And you're like, okay, cool. So like there's still been lots of experiment and learning as the kind of products and technologies have evolved. But I think quite quickly it was pretty evident that like this was the right decision to take. I mean, Hung, it does help when you've just been invested 25 million into the business. Like that does give you a little bit of firepower to say like, yeah, this is probably the right decision for us to take from a product perspective.
Yeah, and it was exciting as soon as you got into it, right? Because I've never seen like product makers so excited. There was like 56-year-old like CTOs back in the garage coding away. It's like crazy. But yeah, brilliant stuff. Let's explain how do you want to play it, Mark? I mean, do you want to show us and then explain as we go, or do you want to give us an overview, or what? Like, you play it as you see fit, mate.
Look, we've got a lot to show today, and I'd much rather like actually show a product rather than slides. And so I think what we'll do, maybe just to set the scene on like the overall approach, and then I think let's just get into the demo. I think it's going to be way more interesting. So one of the things that we've been thinking about with LLMs and reasoning models is like this fundamental, how do you match talent to jobs? And if you think about how that is done historically, it is a job description and a CV or resume. If you take the job description, like our first bit of AI was you'd upload a job description, it would turn it into a prompt, create this like natural language, trying to get people comfortable with natural language. And actually, what we realized is people would change the prompt. And we were like, oh, what are we not extracting from the JD? And it was like, no. The JD was fine. I just know what my hiring manager's looking for, and it's not actually reflected in the job description. The job description is this artifact that actually doesn't really reflect. And so a lot of systems are using the job description as their primary input. And it's like, oh, actually, it's a bad document. Great. I see all the comments are now working because everyone's told us 10 minutes later they can hear us loud and clear. What a morning. What a morning.
I can see it as well. So thank you, Christina. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Rhiannon. And thank you, Francisco. Everybody, we're just seeing your chat comments now. And we can see the timestamp 6 minutes ago. Oh, God.
Love it. So anyway, so job descriptions, bad inputs, and then obviously with these AI tools that are used to create CVs and resumes based on the job description, like, also a bad input. And so that's what we spent a lot of time thinking about is how do you actually give systems better data? Because if you've got better data, the system can do more of the work. If the system can do more of the work, you free up the TA team to do the higher value tasks. And that's kind of the thought process. I think that sets the scene enough. Should we get into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quick question. Why are there 3 agents and not 1? I mean, why do I want to deal with like 3 different agents? What's your thought process on that?
Brilliant question. Because they solve very discrete tasks. And so like this multi-agent or N-tier agent system is like where we believe it will get to. And just like you have recruitment coordinators, sourcers, talent acquisition managers, recruitment directors, today you're going to have different agents that are responsible for different discrete tasks. And to be clear, our customers don't buy all of the agents. Sometimes they don't have a problem to be solved, right? So you can buy these as independent co-workers to solve discrete tasks in your hiring process.
Very good. I didn't realize you could actually purchase sort of these agents separately.
Yes.
You don't need to take the triplets. You can take one or the other.
You can have a favorite child. If you want a favorite child, you can have a favorite child.
Right. Brilliant. Let's have a look, mate.
Right. Cool. Let's get into it. So, one thing that is fun about demoing this stuff is you have to get good at demoing voice. So I'm going to share tab audio. I want to make sure share system audio. Great. Right. Can you see a Zoom call?
Yes, we can see.
You can see me, right, on a Zoom call?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Perfect. So the first part of Chase, what it does is it will join a role intake call between a hiring manager and a recruiter. And the purpose of Chase joining the call is it will sit in the background. It will be taking notes on the requirements. And at the point in which it believes like the requirements are settled, it will create the job. It will actually go and find candidates, and it will show those candidates in real time. And so what we're trying to achieve with Chase is rather than doing a role intake call with a hiring manager, you then go and spend a week sourcing, you come back with a shortlist, and then the hiring manager goes, I forgot to tell you, actually this person needs to stand on their head for 4 hours a day. Instead, all of that calibration happens in real time with real profiles. And Chase will also give you skills insights on the availability of talent. So if your hiring manager's got a ridiculous requirement, then actually you can challenge that using data in real time. So what I'm going to do is invite Chase to join that briefing call. So if you give me a second. Right, so Chase has been invited. So in a minute, you'll see Chase join. I might have to let Chase in, we'll see. And I'm just going to role play an intake call. Great, so Chase is here. Hung, you can see Chase joining? Cool, I'm going to assume that's a yes. Cool, and so I'm just going to role play a role intake call. So I'm looking to hire a product manager based in the UK. They can be based anywhere in the UK. It is essential that they have startup experience and that they're really good at product discovery. In terms of like nice to haves, I would like to see on their profile like demonstrable experience or behaviors around like learning and curiosity. I've always found that that's like a really good like behavior trait in really great product managers. And it would be ideal if they have fintech experience, but that's not mandatory. Chase, let's create this job.
Creating the job on hackajob. I'll send a link in the chat in a few seconds.
Quick one there, Mark.
Go for it.
I didn't realize that you do it by voice. That's very impressive, mate.
Yeah, and there's a couple of different ways we can interact with Chase. I'll show you a few more in a second. So what Chase is now going to do is go and create the profile on hackajob and actually start shortlisting candidates. So if I click over to this is the role that Chase has gone and created on hackajob for me. And so you can see on the left-hand side is captured, we're hiring for a product manager. They need startup experience and they need product discovery skills. And you can see it's captured some nice to haves around learning and curiosity and fintech experience. And so firstly, like Chase is great. It's got a short list of candidates. But actually what I'm really interested in is this like skill insights. So instantly Chase is able to analyze like real data from real candidates and say like, oh, cool. Like if you were to get rid of the startup experience, you'd actually see like an additional 62 candidates for this role. And you can imagine, Hung, you know, those roles back in the day, those like unicorn engineers where the just requirements were just super unrealistic. You're able actually to do that in real time with the hiring manager and the recruiter. Chase will...
Mark, quick one. So I actually also didn't realize that it looked like there was a Zoom integration, right? So essentially... you didn't go into hackajob to speak to Chase. Chase came to you on Zoom. You were having a Zoom call, and it then went back to hackajob to then create the job and to fetch candidates.
Yeah, exactly that. So Chase is integrated into any video conferencing platform: Zoom, Teams, Meets, WebEx. If you're still on WebEx, I couldn't quite get it to join Crowdcast directly as a guest. That's what I was trying to play around with. But yeah, and you know, one of our kind of principles of agents, Hung, is more and more agents are going to integrate into your workflow. Like I think in 2 years' time, 99% of use cases, you will not go to hackajob.com and log into a web app. Instead, it will be an interaction on Slack, or it will join a Teams call or a Zoom, and it will be where you do your work. Like that's one of our core design principles when it comes to building agents.
Yeah, you know what? This actually then challenges my binary concept of a verticalized agent and a generalist agent. And I'm a big fan of what I call verticalized agents, you know, agents that are built by vendors that are domain expert, kind of constrained into that platform. But of course, there's a constraint in the platform, but it looks like your agents are actually going into different workflows, right? You're interacting with different systems. So it's an agentic service within flow. Like there's no flow break. It's literally within an operating procedure of any person. So very impressive, man.
We appreciate it. Just a couple of things to show on like how you want to interact with Chase. So you can see that Chase has like explained how it inferred your experience, your request, right? So product discovery, mentioned strong skills in product discovery, such as conducting user research, etc. But I might say, actually, yeah, that's kind of what I meant. But actually, like, sorry, 2 seconds. You know this new feature on iOS where it connects your phone as your microphone? It kills me. Okay. I'm going to start that bit again. Actually, I need somebody that has like rapid prototyping experience. Like they should really be technical. So they're using tools like Lovable or Replit or Figma Make in their current role or previous roles. So the idea that we want here, right, is like, how does the recruiter and the hiring manager build trust? Well, you have to have this explainability. You have to be able to have this back and forth. So we might now have like, great, we've got rapid prototyping, we've got technical proficiency, and we've got prototyping tools. I can now update that, and Chase is going to go in real time. Great. I'm going to go and put a different shortlist of profiles so we can really get into the person's work experience. I'm going to go and pull different skills insights and show you what that does to the labor market that's available for this role, right? And so if you go back to the problem statement here, we're trying to get calibration really tight between recruiters and hiring managers. And so like this is like the back and forth process that you want to go to. You can then, click into a candidate's profile. You've got all of this information about them, and you can be like, yeah, great, they fit my requirements, or no, they don't.
To be clear, Mark, these candidates are actually in hackajob, right? So they're actually signed up candidates and maybe vetted candidates. I don't know, but they're in the system rather than scripts in somewhere. Yep.
Yeah. So I think there's been a massive rise of AI sourcing agents. They're all fundamentally the same because they're all just scraped data. They're all buying data from the same data sources to go and do it. Maybe there's a different UI layer on top, but they're all fundamentally the same. Our big belief is like first-party data is incredibly valuable. And so there's two data sources that our agents are working with, our members, or your ATS data. And the ATS data is really, really valuable. Obviously, the company owns that data, to be clear, but we can leverage our technology against it. So because, to your point, Hung, these are vetted candidates, we know so much more than like a sourcing agent that's just scraped a bunch of publicly available data. Like actually, we're able to, and I'll show you this with Archer later, qualify the candidate on something we don't even know about them today, but because we have a relationship with the candidate, or Archer has a relationship with the candidate, like they can actually go in and qualify them for them.
Yeah, really interesting, mate. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So we're going to go into a different voice mode now. So let's say actually, I'm a recruiter or I'm a hiring manager and I don't do role intake calls, but I just want to like go and brief a sourcing agent that could go and create a shortlist for me, right? What we call that is chat with Chase. Actually, I just want to make sure that I shared my audio because you need to be able to hear Chase. Do you know how much thought and effort went into Chase's voice? I need your feedback, Hung, and see if it's a voice that you like or not.
Is it generated, by the way, as AI generated voice? Did you get a voice actor to get trained on it? Or
yeah, we went down the voice actor route. We're huge fans of 11 Labs, and so we've gone down that route. Now, I was joking that I want us to actually do it like ourselves. And like takes one of the team's voice and be like, great, we're going to turn it in. No, definitely not me. My voice is horrible. Should be you, really. You're the podcaster, you're the one that's got this. So I keep forgetting to share my sound. So I want to make sure I get that. Great.
You focus on that, but wouldn't it be cool if I could command Mark Chaffee to look for my jobs? I think.
Oh no, you've just given our product team an idea, man. There'll
be some sort of dark incentive that I think a lot of customers would pay for that.
Oh my god!
I want Chaffee slaving away.
Chat with Chaffee. There we go. We've got a new one. Oh my god. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna now brief. I'm now gonna brief an agent. So let's get into this.
Hi, thanks for taking the time to chat today. Before we get started, could you tell me a bit about your role at Hackajob Demo and how it connects to the hiring process?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the CTO and I'm responsible for hiring for our AI agents team.
Great, thanks for sharing. To help me understand what you need, could you tell me a bit more about the AI agents team, like its main focus or the types of projects they're currently working on?
Yeah, we're building AI agents for hiring, and we're actually currently hiring for an applied AI engineer to join that team.
Thanks for clarifying. Can you tell me more about the overall mission for this applied AI engineer role? Specifically, what kind of impact do you expect them to have on the team and your projects?
So there's two kind of big things I'm looking for. One is like greater adoption of AI tools internally, specifically some of the like code gen tools like Cursor. And then obviously applying the latest AI models to our products to improve our metrics for customers.
That's helpful. Thank you. When you mention greater adoption of tools like Cursor internally, are you hoping this person will lead technical workshops, build integrations, measure usage improvements, or something else? What would success look like for you in this area?
I think we don't know because we're not using these tools a lot today. So I think we'd need this person to shape a lot of what success looks like.
Understood. It sounds like you want someone who can drive both tool adoption and innovation with AI models while also shaping the roadmap as they go. Are there any specific outcomes or business metrics you'd like this person to move over their first 6-12 months, such as improved productivity, accelerated feature delivery, or user engagement with AI-driven features? If you have any key targets or indicators, that would be helpful.
Yeah, our North Star metric is our qualified candidate to hire rate. And so ideally, they would make our hiring platform even more efficient.
Got it. Thank you. Let's talk about the fundamental skills this person will need to be successful. First, on the technical side, are there any must-have skills or experiences you consider essential, such as specific programming languages, hands-on experience with LLMs, familiarity with AI infrastructure, or maybe prior work with code generation tools like Cursor?
This is the first person we're going to be hiring. So I actually don't know. What would you recommend?
Absolutely happy to help guide that. For a foundational applied AI engineer in your domain, I recommend considering auto programming languages. Python is a must-have for most AI work. Are there any others your team uses often, like JavaScript or TypeScript? Tools and frameworks? Experience with machine learning libraries, such as PyTorch or TensorFlow? And exposure to LLM frameworks, like Hugging Face or LangChain? Does your team have a preference or current stack? Code generation tools? Familiarity with tools like Cursor, Copilot, or similar would help with your internal adoption aim. Interpersonal skills. Since you want this hire to help drive adoption, strong communication and influencing skills will be important. Would you value experience running internal workshops or onboarding team members onto new technology? Is there anything in this list that's especially important to you or anything you'd add or change?
So yeah, we're using Python with LangChain today and PyTorch. So I recommend we start there.
That's a great foundation. Thinking about the skills you've mentioned, Python, LangChain, and PyTorch, would you expect candidates to be fully proficient with all of them from day one? Or are there any areas you'd be open to them learning and developing on the job? Additionally, are there any soft skills or more technical abilities that could be learned after joining versus ones you really need them to bring from the start?
Chase, I actually don't have time for this now. Can you add the job and start sourcing?
The job was created successfully. Thank you for your time today. You will be redirected to the job page now. I'll shortlist candidates in the following hours for this role. Please come back and review them soon.
That was an intimidating period of silence there by Chase. I thought, you know what, this guy's not happy with Mark's bailing out of the intake call there.
What did you think, man?
I just put it in the chat. Chase is like better than 99% of recruiters are doing intake. That's crazy good, bro. That is crazy, crazy good. I mean, that's educational, just listening to that. Like, if you're doing a manual intake, that Chase is telling you how to do the manual intake. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things we're really excited about, which is, the way you design these voice agents, right? They're not scripted questions, right? It's like you're designing the flow of the conversation and then the agent gets to take it. But what is cool is we get to design the flow. So rather than the intake start with like a how many years of experience they need in Java. It's like, what does success look like for this role in 12 months time? And I was testing it there, to be honest. Like, we haven't got it perfect yet on it making recommendations. Like, you could see there that kind of went a little bit not so natural. The team were like, you probably shouldn't demo that tomorrow. But I was like, I don't know, it's quite a cool use case. And so you can see over time, actually, if I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, as we kind of, continue to tweak and refine Chase, it'll be able to make really good recommendations on like, actually, this is the salary expectation that you should be paying for this role. This is like the things that you should be looking out for. So we're really excited about giving this product out and like getting people using it. Because to your point, I think it can actually teach people a lot about how to do intake calls.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's one of these where a lot of, especially generalist recruiters, they're going to be up and down the stack, recruiting for all sorts. And they're not going to know everything. So, and that's with even recruiters who are vertically kind of working to a certain domain. The technology space moves so fast that you're not going to be able to keep up with everything. So, Chase is going to be super educational there. Is there any scenario where, like, let's say you have a hiring manager that's like very recalcitrant and just says, "Look, find me some good devs." Does Chase take that as a viable instruction and go ahead and do his best, or is he coming back to you and say, "Hang on, we can't go with this information. We need more"?
Yeah, as you saw, like I shut that conversation down so the human can still lead the conversation. Like Chase won't push back too hard. Like if that was like a recruiter, right? The recruiter might be like, well, hang on, just one more question. Like, I need to know the salary range for this role or whatever, right? Before you need to run. And so like, this is like the product that's out in the wild. We're going to keep improving this, right? And keep refining this and going from there. But what Chase will now do, right? So this is like, that was the start of the process. We had two ideas here, Hung. We were like, we could just show you some candidates now. They're from hackajob, etc. Or actually, would it be cooler that Chase will go and then request candidates, validate that they're interested in your company, and come back with a short list of people that aren't just pre-qualified as they're like good, they're actually interested in your role, your company, etc. And so that obviously takes a bit of time. But what Chase will then go and do is add the role to the platform. It will use all of the technology we've built at the moment only on hackajob candidates to go out, vet the candidate, confirm they are interested in a role, and then shortlist a candidate with interview availability on when they can speak to the hiring manager. And then the hiring manager, go for it.
So Chase, you're saying Chase will initiate engagement with the candidate. So it's found the candidate, but rather than just like deploy, here's your candidates, go ahead. It will actually go and ping them in some way.
Exactly. It will message the candidate. And this is where we've got such an advantage because we built so much technology over the years. So it will, at the moment, just on hackajob, it will message the candidate and it will say, "Hey, I'm Chase working on behalf of this company." It will then, the candidate can then, as they always can on hackajob, they can say, "No, that opportunity is not interesting to me," or they can say, "Yeah, that opportunity is interesting." Chase will get their availability and then say, "Great, here's a candidate that we shortlisted for the role. Here's the requirements. Here's their availability." And the hiring manager can just get pinged. And this is where the hiring manager can get pinged on Slack. "Hey, Chase has found some candidates. Click here." You don't see the candidates in Slack yet. You just get taken to this page. You can click in, see the profiles. These are people that are interested in your role, in your company. And it's like, great. Yeah, this person looks spot on. Great. Yeah, let's book in an interview. Bang, bang, bang. Off it goes. And so like, we're trying something a little bit different. Like, I think a lot of the products out there today, it's a lot of third-party data. It's a lot of like, great, no intent, like, are they interested, are they not, etc. We're actually seeing like, can we go and vet the candidate, confirm they're interested, present a shortlist back so that it actually does like more of the work.
That's crazy advanced, man. It's, as you say, I think there's different tiers of AI sourcing tool. Bottom tier, and I don't mean any disrespect, it's just a maturity thing. It's got a scraper on it. You can pull back a lot of information. It's brilliant in that sense. It could pipeline for you essentially, but the data is commodified. It's like anybody's got access to that. So at some point, these people are going to get inundated. Then you got a next level that might have some sort of drip campaign mechanism built in. So you got to ping them, you got to set up a drip campaign and chum it out. But you guys, you've got literally an agent that's going to activate and get speaking to these candidates, and then only bring back qualified and interested. That's all the hiring manager needs. That's all the recruiter needs, right? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's advanced, man.
And there's a great question from Ollie. Hey, Ollie, big fan of Ollie. On like, you know, how do we manage candidate experience? And we've made like hands up. We've got some bits wrong as we've been testing some of this stuff. We've got some bits right? Like we're learning a lot. The reach out to the candidate from Chase at the moment is, I want to shortlist you for a role. Are you interested and can you get my availability? Not, I want to interview for the role, right? And so over time, what we would love to be able to do is the recruiter or the hiring manager trust Chase so much. So like, Chase, when you find someone good, just book them in for me. Like, I don't even need to review them. But again, it comes back to one of our design principles. You have to build trust with the recruiter. And the way you build trust is this two-way communication, this explainability, really like core to everything we're doing. And so in that instance for Ollie, for the hiring manager would say, hey, no, not interested for this reason. Great. Chase can close the loop with the candidate. Hey, hiring manager reviewed your profile, not moving forwards for this reason. Now, overall, we want Chase to be like shortlisting more relevant candidates, right? So that's great lessons for us to learn. But because we, at the moment, it's inside the hackajob ecosystem, there's lots of control we have there, which is like a real advantage for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael, by the way, in the chat. Appreciate it. Christina, if you're watching this, it looks like basically chat is not refreshing unless you physically refresh the browser. So hence people might be chatting to us. And we're not ignoring you guys. We just can't see it. But listen, Mark, very for real, this is brilliant. This is really, really impressive. I mean, particularly, you know, the thing appearing within Flow. That is crazy good, man. That's almost like dream level. Back in my day, trying to build a product, it's like that's amazingly good. That you don't have to log into another system, but you can stay within in tool. And you know, not to say you should do this, but you can imagine that the principles and the concepts could apply to any product out there. Let's say CRM. I'm a sales guy looking for, you know. Why am I having to log into a CRM? I'm looking at another CRM again. Why do I want to do that? You know, I'm basically don't want to go away from my inbox. That's probably the main thing. Maybe there's a chat tool. It should all be there. So there you go.
Dude, I think you're spot on. Sales is a great example. Salespeople, I'm sure Sam's listening to this, hates updating Salesforce, right? Like in the future, he'll be able to, in Slack, ping a Salesforce agent, hey, this opportunity's moved to commit. This is the deal value. This is a close date. Go and update that for me. Right? Or like, you know, there's going to be like, these tools are going to be fully integrated into our workflows. That's why I think like the whole system of record is like a really interesting space right now. It's going to be amazing to see what happens to applicant tracking systems, because effectively they're where humans go to click boxes. I don't think people enjoy logging into an applicant tracking system. And so like, it's going to be interesting to see how that evolves, which is a nice segue by complete accident to go to the second of the triplets if you want to, because that was just Chase, right? So all of that is just Chase. All around role intake, briefing, sourcing, shortlisting.
Right, and just so people are clear, typically the sourcing goes first into the hackajob database, so it goes off to look at that stuff and interact and bring those candidates back. And the next triplet does what exactly? Who is the next triplet, firstly, and what does it do?
Yeah, so THENA, she, by the way, they are he's and she's. Vic, our head of product, always reminds me of that, so they're not it apparently. I think without a shadow of doubt, the number one challenge we hear from customers today is we're just inundated with applications. You know, like all these AI tools are generating so many applications. Ashby's released some amazing data on this. I think the number of applications to make a hire has gone up like 3.8x in the last 2 years. And only 1 in 33 applications is getting invited through to interview, right? So it's just a lot of noise, a lot of AI slop, as Sam likes to call it, which I totally agree. And so what we wanted to do with THENA is like, we've built this incredible underlying technology with hackajob intelligence that can really calibrate roles, as we've just seen, and surface talent. How do we apply that to people's ATS candidates? So THENA lives inside your ATS, which was a real interesting like technical challenge, because it's the first time our technology has touched non-hackajob candidates. And so there's a lot of considerations we had to build there. And rather than your ATS defaulting, you know, A to Z alphabetical sort on applications, THENA will re-rank and make recommendations on who should be progressed and who shouldn't. So should we get into the demo? Cool. If I share screen, Cool. We use Greenhouse as our ATS. We love Greenhouse. Big fan of the team at Greenhouse. I think it's like our second or third most integrated Greenhouse ATS on hackajob. But it's not built for like the modern world of like what we see today of like all of these applications coming in. And so I've got, actually, I'm not going to use that role, though that does give you a sneak peek, Hung. Like maybe we're not just tech anymore, but we'll come back to that. So I'm going to use this role, Senior Product Manager for a startup. I've got 18 candidates in here. Actually, that's not very many. I might have 200 normally, right? And again, this is not a knock on Greenhouse. Greenhouse is an amazing product, but these ATSs are just not built for search. So let's say I wanted to do like product discovery and be like, great, like what's going on here? It's going to pull up like some keywords, but I don't really know why they're keywords. It doesn't actually look like it's product discovery, etc. And then obviously you can turn these into booleans, but it's like all going to be very, very keyword based. What THENA looks at doing is if I switch to hackajob, you can see the hackajob tab now, Hung.
Yep.
So you can see that I've got the same role here and I've linked it to my ATS. And so I can now calibrate THENA the exact same way I can do with Chase. So I can have any plain text requirement. I don't need the job description, to be clear. I could take the requirement that Chase generated and use that here. And I can like come in here and have a look at it. And already THENA's started shortlisting applications. So in total, there's 17. THENA's already got that down to 6. And it's like you can see where THENA's knocked out candidates from before. And so you've got a quick high level here, like this is where the candidate meets your requirements. You get access to all of the different filters you might ask in your knockout questions, location, years of experience, salary, visa, security clearance, whatever you need. And so rather than the recruiter having to manually sift 500 applications, THENA's going to bring the ones that are most relevant to the top of that list. And you've got complete control over THENA. Like you can turn that and go like, actually, do you know what? I want to see all of my applications. Great. I can now see all of them. And as you go further down, you'll see like this person just doesn't meet your requirements. You can change those requirements over time, whatever it may be. And like the idea of this is that we all probably fell into recruiting, right, Hung? That's the saying. We all fell into recruiting. We didn't fall into recruiting to sift 500 applications for a job. Like that is not the work that humans should be doing. And so what we want to be doing with THENA is getting THENA to do all of that work for us. And then there's two different ways to come back to kind of workflow integrations, Hung. It's like, does that mean that we become an ATS? No, we do not want to be an ATS. We do not want to play in that space. So how do we elegantly hand off THENA back into the ATS? And there's two different modes. And actually, it surprised me. The mode that most of our customers are using today is when I click on like, oh yeah, great, I trust THENA's recommendation. I'm going to get redirected back into Greenhouse and I can quickly move them into interview process. And so again, how do you deeply integrate into our customers' workflows is something that we're spending a lot of the time on with THENA. I'll pause there in case you've got any comments or questions, and then I can show you a few other things.
Yeah, I mean, the first comment is like ATSs. I mean, are they not going to look at this and think, hang on, we don't want this this sort of agent routing around in our systems and so on? And you know, what's the risk or the prospect at some point? You know, there's a more, let's say, defensive posture from these ATSs.
Look, I think that, you know, luckily friends with all of the ATSs, and I think that a lot of ATSs are going to build their own version of THENA. And so it's actually going to come down to like, can we build a better product? Because I think that the CEO of an ATS cares more about their customer staying with the ATS than they care about whether they're using their agent to do sifting or our agent to do sifting, right? That's going to be a fraction of their overall revenue. So take Workday, for example, right? Workday's our most integrated ATS. You know, they've got HiredScore, right? They acquired HiredScore. HiredScore plays in the same space. Yet the Workday partnerships team are like, yeah, cool. THENA looks really, really interested. We're comfortable having integrations with products that are competitive to our own because we want to give customers optionality. And so I think that our goal is to play nice. Like we're not trying to displace an ATS. We don't want to be an ATS. I think the core ATS business is solving a different problem. And then some of the more modern ATSs are going to create really good solutions for this, right? And THENA won't be needed. So, you know, maybe I haven't seen yet, I don't know if you have like any AI native ATSs. Obviously, Ashby's the kind of star of the show at the moment, but they were still kind of pre-LLM, pre-GPT. I don't know if you've seen any, but like I'm really excited to see what happens with AI native ATSs. But yeah, we'll play nice, but we're integrated with them all. Like, we're here to complement their customers at the end of the day. And look, if they do a better job of solving their customers' pain than THENA does with their own product, awesome, right? The customer doesn't need THENA. So yeah, we're playing nice.
I wonder whether I can't stop thinking about whether THENA ever encounters the native ATS. Like, is there a future where they actually bump into each other, like have a chat?
Who knows? Quite possibly.
It reminds me a little bit of the relationship of an in-house recruiter with an RPO person or with an agent. I mean, you're kind of trying to solve similar problems. Maybe you do work in partnership at times, but there's always a little bit of eyeing each other up on the corridor kind of thing.
Totally. And look, if ATS had solved this problem, we wouldn't have built THENA. But we hear from all of our customers that ATSs haven't solved this problem yet. So, like I said, if they solve the problem, great, awesome. But so far, that hasn't been the case.
That's an interesting. I mean, let me ask the crowd. I mean, people who are watching this right now, even though we might not be able to watch the comments, we're going to refresh it a bit later. But like, how satisfied are you with your ATS's ability to basically retrieve candidates based on your searching for them? I mean, do you think it's irrelevant? Do you get value from that, or is it just a load of irrelevant stuff and it's like just painful to plow through? I remember back in my day, like way back pre-cloud ATS, on-premise, talking about easy access type stuff. The not ridiculous, venerable product, but recruiters hated it because we just knew you'd be wrestling with it for like 20 minutes and it'll produce you nothing. And you think, no, you're going to go on job site.
Totally, man. And so that's like the really exciting place where THENA's going. Is THENA will actually go and then rediscover old candidates. And so it's not just about sifting new candidates. It's like, great, you've got 1 million CVs in your ATS that you do absolutely nothing with. The data's out of date, etc. THENA will go and enrich that data, be able to re-engage those candidates, re-shortlist them, etc. Which I'm really excited about. I think that's just the untapped part of TA.
And does THENA also have that interaction stuff that Chase does? So they'll identify a bunch of candidates. Does it immediately interact with them, or does it on your instruction, or what?
No, at the moment, not yet. And like, we're being quite conservative about humans in the loop. Like, we really want humans in the loop at every section to be like, yeah, great, go, don't go, etc. And again, comes back to trust. I think a lot of TA people don't trust their systems because they've been bad systems for quite a long time. And so like, actually, no, right now, human in the loop. But what is cool about that is all of our agents get to reuse different pieces of technology. And so the actual underlying technology of some of these agents is similar, but the way they come together as a product is different. And that's like, again, a real advantage of us just because we've built a lot that we're able to leverage lots of different elements of it.
Okay, very good. Just the final thing on this, in terms of like right now, it retrieves primarily. THENA's job is to retrieve the results, to improve the internal search of candidates, and it obviously screens stuff and goes through things like this. Doesn't get involved in messaging within ATS. It's not that sort of situation. Maybe down the track. And I guess it does screen though as well, right? Because it's going through a screening process. So take me through the journey on an advert. Let's say I put an advert out, multi-post it out, and it's like getting hammered, loads coming in. Can THENA deal with that in terms of it'll screen but it won't respond, right? So here I'm trying to figure out like it won't deal with the candidate experience at this point.
At this point, no. We've still got the human in a loop at that point. So let's say you configure a role, 500 applications come in, you've got knockout questions, you can align knockout questions to THENA and be like, great, THENA can add knockout questions if you're like, your ATS doesn't do that. And then THENA's job is to take like, of those 500 applications, who are the X amount that the recruiter needs to speak to now? Like, stop sifting through 500, like go and speak to these 10 people. Over time, you can imagine more of it working as that co-pilot with the recruiter and being like, great, actually, these 20 people could be interesting, but we don't know enough about them. I'm going to go and do a bit more qualification as THENA on the candidate, and I'll come back to you and let you know, maybe they did have payments experience. I just, their CV didn't do a good job of it. So today, primary focus, how do you go from 500 applications to 20 in the most efficient way to help the recruiters? Over time, how do you start enriching that data? How do you start rediscovering old candidates? All of that piece will come to.
Good stuff. Final question. These candidates aren't in hackajob. Is there a scenario where it might identify candidates that kind of have a hacker job profile? I mean, I guess it would be useful on that respect because you've got history, but also you got, I don't know, what's the data sort of Chinese wall scenario? Like, what's your policy on that?
Yeah. So firstly, on the Chinese wall policy is like the customers own their ATS data. Jane Cooper, which has come from the ATS, does not get added to hackajob, does not become a hackajob member, anything like that. But what is super sick for the recruiter is like, great, I reviewed my applications. I didn't have people I want. I can just flick into hackajob and start sourcing instantly. These are net new candidates that haven't applied for my job that I can just go in and source. And so again, when you think about recruiter efficiency, how do we get recruiters so they're just working from one view? And like you could imagine, right? Like, great, I've got my applications, I shortlisted 4, I've requested interviews. I need to now go and source some candidates. I can do that all in one view. And so THENA works hand in hand with the hackajob community, but is focused on your ATS candidates.
Yeah, very, very interesting, mate. And again, you can buy that separado, right? So separately bought. Again, don't need to talk numbers here, Mark, but how are you charging for it? Is it per seat or is it data usage? Like, how have you thought about this?
It's a range of applications that THENA is going to process over a period of time. So if you've got, I don't know, 5,000 applications a month, it's going to cost one number. If it's 50,000 applications a month, it's going to cost another. Just a quick, this is like maybe a worldwide exclusive. I feel like I'm giving you lots of worldwide exclusives today, Hung. THENA works against any role, not just tech roles. So
very important.
Very, very important. And you're going to hear more and more from hackajob about non-tech roles. All of the new agents we are building are all for any professional work, any head office type work, any knowledge work. I don't know, Hung. I don't know what the right term is these days to capture that language, professional work, knowledge work. I don't know, whatever. But like all of these agents will work across that. And over time, you might see some announcements around kind of the sourcing platform and what that supports as well. And so I think, yes, it's going to be a very interesting 6 months when it comes to hackajob being maybe far more than just tech profiles.
Yeah, very exciting indeed, because different challenges, aren't they? So excellent. Okay, cool. I think there's one more triplet to look at. Yeah,
one more. Right, we've got 8 minutes. So Archer is the final one. Archer takes a lot of the technology that we've already shown. So Archer's job is to generate you more relevant inbound applications. Okay. And so the way that Archer does that is it will like ingest an XML feed of jobs, right? Just give it an XML feed of jobs. It will calibrate the role, and you can have like account level prompts for Archer. So you could say like, I don't know, maybe you're a consultancy and you need people that come from consultancy background. You can say like Archer only find people that come from a consultancy background or whatever it is. So you can calibrate it in any way you want. Archer takes all of those roles, goes to the entire hackajob community of 1.5 million members, identifies people that could be relevant, pre-qualifies them, and if they meet the qualification, then invites them to apply. And so like you can see how that works so effectively. And there's 2 real things that we're aiming to do with Archer. And to be clear, Archer's the product that's been out in the wild the most. Like we've got like, if not 100 customers, like pretty close to that using it, like it's out there. And the 2 data points that we're measuring for Archer is 1, how many are first-time applicants? Okay, so these are people that have never applied to your company before. Why is that important? Well, in this world of more inbound and TA teams being smaller, TA teams are sourcing less. It is just a reality. And so you are relying on active job seekers from LinkedIn, from Indeed, etc., to apply for your roles. That's awesome. But there's a whole part of the market that you're not seeing because you're not proactively sourcing passive talent. Archer taps into those passive talent, gets them to be excited, great, gets them to apply. And then the second point, obviously, is the conversion rate from application. Because Archer's doing qualification upfront, the conversion rate is way higher. And why I love Archer, Hung, it is the most data-driven product we've ever had. Like, does it generate net new candidates, and do they get progressed at a higher rate than what your normal candidates do? If yes, why do you not take the 100 grand you're spending with Indeed and give that 100 grand to Archer? Because this is going to be far better for you. And we're really comfortable with how people purchase Archer. you can purchase Archer on like a cost per apply, cost per qualified applicant if you want, because like we really back its ability to be able to generate those applications. And it can do like extra qualification. I can show you a quick example, but that's kind of what we're building with Archer.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Very interesting. Love to see it, Mark. Have you got time?
Yeah, cool. So let me just like walk through the end-to-end journey. So XML feed, like it can be as clunky, as horrible as you want. You don't need to spend too much time on like what data you give Archer. You will then go, and Archer basically has the ability to create a job like any job on hackajob. It just does it at a lot more scale. So what Archer will be doing in the background will be taking all of that information, turning that into a calibrated requirement. Archer will then go and reach out to candidates on hackajob, and you can see an example here. So you can see here is an example with Leonardo. They've reached out, leveraging Archer to this. You can see some information about the role, the company. And actually, in this instance, you've got like some like actual requirements here around like what is required. So this is like security clearance. You could be like, yeah, cool, I can acknowledge that. I then get redirected to the ATS to apply. So I get to go through, like as a recruiter, you don't even know you're engaging with Archer. You're just getting super relevant candidates into your ATS that you then just sift through. So again, when we think about integrating into their workflows, like Archer just gets to live entirely in their workflow.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And I guess when you talk about sifting, presumably you could deploy THENA to do that at some point.
Exactly.
You're starting to get the triplets working together.
Yeah, that is it. Like imagine a world where Chase is doing your, job intake call, really curated shortlist. Archer's generating more relevant inbound, and THENA's sifting all of that as it comes in. Like you absolutely can see that flywheel.
Yeah, and I think that's the inevitable future. But it looks like you're one of the few companies that are building the components in parallel, which is super exciting, man. So give us an update in terms. Firstly, thanks for dropping in and sharing this all with us, Mark. Brilliant to see it. And brave to do it live as well, folks. I mean, we had a bit of a snafu at the first 5 minutes. So this is a high risk stuff, right? But fortune favors the brave.
The triplets did well. Give the triplets a round of applause. The triplets did well. They showed up.
Brilliant. They did indeed. A few final questions. I mean, firstly, where are we at with it? You mentioned that there's already deployed sort of to 100 customers plus and so on. So people can go in and demo this right now and buy, right? Is that correct?
Absolutely. All of these products you can do a 30-day trial with. Don't need to give us your details. Like you can just go in there, start using them. Like we want people using these products. We've got lots of case studies already showing the impact of these products and the impact that they're having. And so they're all live, they're all deployed. You can go and get demos. But like I said, we'd encourage you to get hands-on with them. Like you don't just need to get demos, you can get hands-on, try before you buy, see the data.
What do you mean 30 days? 30 days free trial, or is it 30 days paid free trial?
No, free trial, yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Look, man, I was at HR Tech 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and if I was a buyer in this market, I'd be like, oh my God, every vendor's claiming the same thing. Like, how do I see like actually what's noise, what's not? There's 200 different sourcing agents out there, etc. Best way, get in there, get hands on the keyboard, actually start testing this stuff, and like we really back what we've built.
No question. And not only that, man, it's also a case of like one of the key things that makes the difference is does it actually the candidates respond. That's not clear on demo because you're usually demoing in dumb data. So you need to pipe a real job in there. So if you're hiring for real jobs, then I see no reason why you would not demo this right now. That's crazy good. Okay, final question. The naming of these creatures, of these triplets, Archer, THENA, and Chase. Where did you come up with this, mate? What was the process there?
Yeah, so creatures, well, so we decided that we wanted to personify them, which was a decision in of itself, because they could just be called product names, right? They don't need to be personified. And then I was actually on a bit of a road trip in Scotland with my brother and sister whilst we were going through the naming convention. And like every time I'd get signal, the team would have found like 50 new names that they might want. And I was like, yeah, no. Some of them were easier to name than others, to be clear. One of them was quite tricky. And there was a lot of debate and deliberation internally. I don't want to speak ill of other people. Like a few of these AI agents out there, like typically like attractive blonde women. We're like, we absolutely are not doing that. Like, let's make this a bit of fun. Let's make this a bit of personality. And they kind of do have their own little personality, which is cool. The thing that's the most fun about it is I'm on calls with customers and they're like, oh, we're going to let Chase do that, or we're going to let THENA do that. And I think that's the world we're getting into, where we will truly start to see AI agents actually like be treated like co-workers. And we're not there yet, but like actually that's why naming them is really powerful, because it starts giving them like that. So yeah, honestly, man, obviously a lot of GPT, a big Miro board, personalities we're trying to get, and we landed on Archer, Chase, and THENA. I don't have kids, so I don't know what it's like to name kids, but I imagine it's a similar process.
Yeah, very, very good. I love it. All right, Mark, listen, it's been brilliant. Thank you so much for your demo, and well done all the team at hackajob. That's fantastic contribution. I think it's probably the most advanced product I've seen so far. I've got to be honest, it's rocking. And so, yeah, I'm going to recommend people give it a shot. There's literally no cost to you to sign up. So brilliant. Mark, I believe, hang on, are you going to Tennessee next week? I don't know where you are, mate.
Yes, I will be in Tennessee, Breakfast US next week. Very excited.
I'm there, and I've got a new thing that I'm doing. It's called Zero Prep Podcasting. So I'm just going to collar you, and we're going to just record a podcast.
Excellent. I can't wait, mate. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you then. Thank you so much for having us on.
No worries. Brilliant stuff, Mark. Take it easy. Thank you so much.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
There you go, everyone. Thanks for persevering with the jiggery pokery at the beginning of the show, by the way. I'm sure you would agree with me to say that was worth it. What a spectacular demonstration, and a very exciting moment to be both in product and also to be in recruiting as well. The ground is shifting sort of underneath us, and you've got to be excited for it. You've got to be up for it, and we've got to be running with it. So I will recommend you try this and every other product you can see, but get into it, learn how these things can work, help you do your job better, but also think about how it then shapes your job going forward, so you can continue to do the human value added. Okay, that's it, folks. I'll see you later. There's more stuff. I'm webinaring away all the way through this week. So you're going to see a lot more of me before the week is over, but thanks for watching.